Hey guys, welcome back to Home Built, and this week we are back onto the Rockster and we're going to start sorting out some of those leaks and starting issues we've been having. All right, guys, welcome back. And those of you who have been following will know that this is the Rockster. This is the ugliest Porsche in Australia that I managed to get. I've now done an Audi V8 swap into it, and we're just sorting out the last little bits and pieces before we can actually sort of get it back out on the track and see how these improvements have worked. If you missed it, I'll put a link up above so you can catch up, and think about subscribing. It does help us out. So in the last episode, you will have seen that the starter motor died, and that sort of pretty much killed all the fun because I couldn't get it going again. I searched everywhere and could not find anyone who builds a new starter motor for this. No aftermarket companies at all. I searched everywhere online. There was no new ones available. I did not actually ring Audi themselves, which may have been the other option, but. Yeah, I don't know if any of you can, but for a 2003 Audi V8, I would have thought somebody built a starter motor, but there was zero anywhere in the world that I could find online. Let me know if you come up with anything, but I did manage to find one second-hand. So this is out of a wrecker, only one I could find online. So I have a new starter motor, or another second-hand starter motor that should hopefully do the job. So first things first is we need to swap this out, and then we'll start having a look at the leaks that we had last time, which was we had leaking from the power steering pump and from the oil system. So let's get the Rockster back up in the air and start having a go at fixing these issues. All right, starter motor is in, and that is all connected up, so hopefully that'll work. But before we can test that, we're going to move over to my power steering leak, which is over here. So basically what I did to connect this up is, this is the original Audi power steering pressure line that goes into the original connection for the Boxster power steering. And the thread matched perfectly, but internally, it doesn't match, and basically the only way I've been trying to stop it is to be able to tighten it down onto a copper crush washer, and it's just leaking straight out past it. What I'll do now is I'll pull this apart and I'll show you what I've got to try and do to get this thing to stop leaking. All right, well, it's a little bit difficult to show you what's going on inside because it's leaking the whole time, and I'm trying not to lose too much fluid out of there. But essentially what we've got going on, I did a bit of a little sketch here, but basically what we've got is on one end, it needs a tapered fitting into the Audi end, and into the Boxster end, it goes in. It also needs a bit of a tapered fitting. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to build my own olive to go in the middle to basically join that up and then hopefully stop the leaking. So it's having a trouble focusing, but that is my little olive. I had to take a guess at the tapers because I don't have an easy way to measure those. But we're going to put this in now, and hopefully with the crush in the middle there, I think this should do the job and stop my leak, which would be great. Okay, so it looks like I'm happy with the angle of my tapers, but the issue I've just come across is that my olive is just too small. I need to make this quite a bit larger. It basically disappears into the cone of the Audi end, and it's not going to touch on the other side, so I need to make this a little bit bigger. All right, so you can see the second one is a bit bigger than the first, so let's go and try number 2. Okay, third time's the charm. I basically went back and made a third olive because the second one, it was still a little bit too short, and I wasn't getting that crush. Now I've got this slightly bigger olive again, and it seems like it's in there. It's doing the crush. It's not leaking yet. We'll have to wait and see, but I think that should sort out my leaking issue on the power steering. So that's leak 1 sorted. Let's now go over to the oil side and see about leak 2. Okay, so the car's been sitting for a couple of weeks. You can see this leak here, and there were a couple of loose fittings and stuff up on my oil cooler, which could be part of the issue, but I actually think the bulk of it is coming from my adapter here for the oil filter, and what it actually is I thought it was these fittings, but I don't think it's the fittings. It's actually up higher, and there's a couple of plugs on either side that aren't doing their job. So that's where my leaks are coming from. So let's see what we can do about stopping a leak in those. So there are plugs on either side of that sandwich plate, and one of them I'm going to fill with this, which is a Raceworks oil pressure sensor. So that's a nice thing to add to the gauges and stuff on the race car anyway. So this is going to be a good addition, so that I can actually see how my oil pressure is going, particularly if I can set up alerts and things like that. A lot of the things that kill race cars is lack of oil pressure. So like you've seen me putting in the oil accumulator, that's part of it, and this is going to be good for monitoring things. So this is going to plug one of the sides, and I'll wire it into the Link ECU. So let's start fitting. All right, well, that was a bit of time then just going through and wiring up that sensor. I've got all the wires done on this side where the ECU is. Like I mentioned before, wiring an ECU is really quite straightforward. It's actually not that complicated. If you can wire a car stereo, you can wire an ECU. It's along those sort of lines. It's really not that hard. The oil pressure sensor has 3 wires like a lot of sensors do. So it's got a sensor 5-volt power, a sensor ground, and then the signal wire. So the sensor power, 5-volt power and ground, I've actually shared with a couple of other sensors that I've already put the wiring through to, and then just one of the analog inputs, analog input 6, just go into the ECU, into Link's settings, and just allocate analog input 6 is now oil pressure, and it's in the ECU. It's that easy, and now when the car's going, I might actually have to tell them what type of sensor it is in the ECU. It's got a bunch of different options in the computer, so it'll just get the calibration correct, and then we have oil pressure in the car. It's really very, very simple. So now we're going to put the car back up in the air and just do the plug end and plug it into the sensor, and that side is another one done. Okay, so we are back to hopefully being a running car again. So it's time to start it again, heat cycle it again, see if we can actually get it up to temperature now, and get the thermostats open, the fans to kick on, get it just running the way it's supposed to run. So let's start her up. Now we're not getting anything from the starter, so it's time to check the starter again. Lift up. Okay, so I had the connection around the wrong way for the starter motor. I had the basically the trigger wire on the wrong connect terminal. Swap that around, she started straight up. I am leaking out of the power steering again, still. Ugh. but no oil leaks right now. So far, so good. Engine's running. We're just getting it up to temperature now. I've got the laptop running, so we're just monitoring things. Everything seems like it's good. It's idling nicely, so we just want to get it up warm enough so that it opens the thermostat, and hopefully all my plumbing, at least on the coolant side, is working. Because the oil and the power steering are both leaking. Come on. Let's open. 99 degrees. 100. Come on. 103, 104. What is going on? 110. It's getting hot. It's 110. There's no thermostat. Come on. Open. Okay, something sprung a leak. The thermostat still did not open. And something had a poo. So something is still not right. That got to 110, 111 degrees Celsius and thermostat didn't open. So something's not going right. This car is just endless nightmares. Oh, that is such a pain. Basically, the temperature just kept going up and up and up. It got to about 110, 111 degrees, and the thermostat is not opening. I don't know what the problem is, because you saw only a little short time ago, I pulled that thermostat out and it was okay. I tested it and it was working earlier, but now it's not. And I don't know what is going on. I felt both of the coolant pipes that come straight from the thermostat, and they're the aluminium pipes that I built, and they're both cold. So there's nothing coming out into them. So the thermostat was not opening at all, and yeah, and then it just exploded. So we'll have to look into this a little bit deeper now and see exactly what's going on. I'm not sure whether my sensor is calibrated properly. It may actually be that it's not running that hot. It just the calibration for the water temperature sensor is out a little bit. That's very possible. So you know, as I said, it was running 110, 111 degrees, but it may actually only be running 95 degrees. It just depends on how the calibration is in the ECU. In any case, it didn't like it. So I'm going to investigate further and get back to you and see exactly what the go is. That actually came out of an overflow from the expansion tank, and maybe there's still an issue there. I'll have to have a look. In any case, that is another pain for the Rockstar. We will get there eventually. It's just, it's beating me down. We're still leaking. We're still overflowing. It's just not getting any better. This car. Constant headaches. But hopefully you enjoy joining me for this this crazy ride that is the Rockstar and all of its issues. If you do, please do the things like subscribe, join us on Patreon to watch the videos a day before everybody else, and it does help us out. And if you need parts for any of your Porsches, even if they are the ugliest Porsche in Australia, which you're probably not because this is it, you can make sure you check out and compare prices at PorschePartsByJeff.com first. All right, guys, we'll see you on the next one.